This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carinante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carinante. Are the Oakland A's AI? What is this? This is a very weird series. New York Yankees lost the first game of the set 2-0 in a clone game to the one that they lost to the Rays over the weekend, where they couldn't hit it all and it went extras, and then they lost late and then they couldn't hit in the bottom of the extras. And this one only went 9, but it was the same game. That was the last time we were live. We're live again here Thursday ahead of the series finale. Yankees have won the next 2. Wins are fun. Wins are not easy to come by in Major League Baseball. I maintain the Oakland A's are totally okay. And if they weren't called the Oakland A's and they didn't have the history and baggage of that franchise, we didn't know they were moved to Vegas via Sacramento and maybe never Vegas at all, we would think this is a solid young team with one of the best bullpens.
What if they were the Rays?
Somehow they have the best bullpen I've ever seen. So the Yankees have won the last 2 games. No reason to hoot and holler or go crazy. You don't have to get up on a mountaintop and say, we are the best. We are the best team. Because that's not what that means. But they're facing a major league team, and they've guaranteed themselves a series split. And I hope they go out and grab a series win tonight. No guarantees. Knicks on TV. NFL draft tonight. Crazy night. But I wanted to wear the jersey today because you know what? First of all, it's my Mark Teixeira 09 jersey that definitely came from Estonia. And the patches hand sewn in the wrong color, and the letters on New York are all off kilter. And it's a crazy jersey. It's wrong size. I just wanted to wear it because I feel like we're not celebrating the New York Yankees quite enough for what they've been able to do after what they've gone through with the ridiculous. Look up and down the lineup. Who are you confident in? Gleyber Torres? No. Anthony Volpe in a slump right now. Anthony Rizzo? No. Aaron Judge, worst slump of his career. Giancarlo Stanton sometimes. Oswaldo Cabrera, hot start, still Oswaldo Cabrera. Juan Soto, incredible. But 1 through 9, Austin Wells, 0 for 23 slump that he broke yesterday. 1 through 9, you're not confident in a lot of those guys, right? Who are you confident in the bullpen? Is Luke Weaver our second best reliever? It's possible. Not confident in a lot of those names. They don't pick up swing and miss. Rotation? I know those guys are going to compete every time out, but I also know they're not going to go deep into the game. They're going to turn me over to that bullpen that I don't trust. So when Clark Schmidt gives up the 3-run homer yesterday, you're like, I knew that would happen, but I figured Victor Gonzalez would do it. Now I guess you did it. Now I have to recalibrate my expectations. It's tough to win games. It's definitely tough to win games with a roster struggling this much. If you don't want to believe in these guys, you don't want to believe it can get better, that's on you. You're more than welcome to do that. That's fine. Competition gets harder. Brewers coming up, Orioles coming up. That's why I'm going to celebrate the wins a little bit here, because I've just noticed that for a 17-8 team, there's a lot of Twitter accounts out there that get real quiet when they win a couple of games in a row. And then when they lose one, here they come. Same old Yankees. This is predictable. This is embarrassing. But I don't hear from those folks during the wins. So I just wanted to say that Yankees won last night. Yankees won the night before. Yankees won 2 games in a row. We're doing a podcast now to talk about the series so far. The DJ LeMahieu problem. Yes. Spencer Jones's red heart start. We're going to cover everything trending with this team. But Thomas Carinante, welcome to the show. You've got an offer for everybody. I just feel like 17-8 with the number of things that have gone wrong is still pretty impressive. And if you don't believe any of the things that have gone wrong are going to get better, again, like we said last show, that's a you problem. You can feel that way. You might be right. But it does feel like a lot of people show up when they lose a bad game and say, unforgivable loss. That was disgusting. And then when they win a couple in a row, you don't see those people talking so much. They're just waiting for that next loss. So we're going to talk during the wins.
Yeah. I mean, people are sick. We know that. A lot of people are unwell. We're trying to help, though. Trying to make things better.
I thought I was the most pessimistic fan.
I'm unwell,
I had pessimistic tweets yesterday. I thought I was one of the most pessimistic fans in the world. And I've run across just another level of it this season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it always gets worse. But you know what? DraftKings is here. We're going to make everybody happy. We're going to give everybody a little opportunity to have some fun. So Yankees fans, Yankees haters, we have any Yankees haters in here on Thursday at 2 p.m.? If you are, God bless. DraftKings is here offering a fantastic sign-up bonus for new users. New customers can place a $5 bet on any sport and instantly claim $200 in bonus bets when you sign up with our code Yanks Go Yard. Name of the website, name of the podcast, pretty easy. You will also receive one no-sweat single-game parlay every single day. Pretty good deal. The best part is that you will get both of these rewards even if your first bet loses, doesn't have to win, just got to place it. Using our code Yanks Go Yard not only gets you these bonuses, but it also helps directly support the podcast. yanksgoyard.com. Adam and Thomas, your boys, let's do it. If you've been considering signing up for DraftKings or have any friends, family members that might be interested, please make sure to give them the code Yanks Go Yard or use it yourself to maximize these first bets. This offer is only available to new customers who are 21 and older and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Check the episode description for full terms of the offer to see if you qualify. Look, it is healthy for us to keep our eye on trends that we don't like. We've talked about it before. Runners in scoring position, grounding into double plays, bad defense. But win's a win. We're not going to poo-poo on any wins just because everything didn't go right. Everything's not going to go right on a regular basis. People who have not figured out how to watch baseball yet are usually people who have not figured out life yet, because baseball and life are very comparable. Long, kind of, disappointing, hot streaks of having things go your way. You go in cold streaks of having things not go your way. You just got to adapt and persevere. So we're going to cover it all, but we want everybody to stay even-keeled. It's cautious optimism right now. A lot of stuff going on. Winning games, though. One of the best teams in baseball, leading the AL East. Everyone's talking about the fucking Orioles. Why don't you talk about me for once? Me.
Why don't you talk about me? My name. Say my name. Literally my name. Don't even talk about my team. Just talk about me, the man. Positives, negatives from the series. They lost the first game and Mason Miller blew them away and made them look like they were playing JV baseball.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And every time the A's bring a guy in from the pen, I'm like, there's no way that this guy could be as nasty as the guys I saw in the first game of this series. And they pretty much all have been. Lucas Erceg in the first game, 100-mile-an-hour sinker. Muller came in yesterday, looked good left on left. The dude they brought when Boyle was struggling, the starter, that guy was throwing 98 in the other batter's box and had disgusting stuff and crazy movement. And they got him up to 80-plus pitches in 3 innings because he had no idea where it was going. But I didn't want to face him. And I was like, well, surely the middle reliever on the last place projected Oakland A's, who's about to come in, is going to be worse than him. There's no way they're going to turn to a better guy. And that guy had a 1 ERA in 11 innings. The whole bullpen is good. And the first 2 starters, Paul Blackburn, who was an all-star a couple years back and is going to be a top trade target at this deadline, and JP Sears, who we know very well, both are top-tier names. They've got a rotation fronted by 2 guys. They've got a young core that I would say about half of the lineup is valuable. Langoliers, Geloff, who didn't play yesterday. Esteury Ruiz is awesome, and they demoted him the other day, a couple weeks ago, because he was wearing protest gear about their move out of Oakland. Very transparent, didn't deserve to be demoted. Watching the Oakland A's, I just think this team is okay. They're not a good baseball team, but I get similar vibes from playing them that I would from playing the Angels. They're just scorned because, everybody knows the history of the franchise, and it's like, oh, you got to win all 4 against the A's. You're just not going to waltz into every series and take all 4. Really hope the Yanks win tonight, obviously. We'll see. But they've at least earned themselves a split with the way that they've handled the last 2 games. So series not over, but quick recap. I mean, moment you were happiest in the first 3 against the A's. Obviously, my moment did not come from the opener. I'll tell you that right now. Just a complete waste. But I'll go with the Juan Soto homer to dead central yesterday to add a little bit of breathing room, because styled on it. JJ Bleday leapt at the wall, lost his glove over the fence, which was very funny. Not sure why you would have a glove on that loose. If you intended to catch the ball, it would theoretically have taken your glove into Monument Park. But I'll go with that one because Schmidt giving up the bomb, the 3-run homer, immediately put a damper on that game. I was hoping to turn it off early and watch Survivor. Still have not watched Survivor.
Can't do it.
Would love to have watched it, but you just can't. Schmidt, hitters were hitting 539 off him the 3rd time through the order, entering yesterday's 3rd time through the order. And I was like, all right, you know what? 5-0 up on the Oakland A's. There's really no better time to give him a little extra leash here. Got to save the bullpen. Got to get over this 3rd time through the order thing at some point. We got to see. We have to see it. So why not now with a 5-0 lead? How quickly can this really fall apart? Super quickly. Hit Ryan Noda on the foot. Gives up a double to Nevin. gets the strikeout and then gets to face the righty Rooker. He's better against righties and lefties, but not that one because he gives up a immediate 3-run home run. So kudos to Juan Soto for extending that lead a little bit, making me breathe easier. And then Luke Weaver, again, our second best reliever, maybe, comes in and does the job. I would have had him finish yesterday's game, but ultimately I was happy to see Ian Hamilton get a shot, look a little bit better, though a few of those balls were scalded. Second place for me, Austin Wells' bunt hit. That's what we like to call uncle pornography. Your uncle at home was sitting there going, thank you. He probably called you immediately. You got a sent from my smart fridge text from your uncle going, finally, a freaking bunt. But where are you at?
Your aunt calls you up and been like, I saw your uncle's search history and there's a lot of bunt videos. Do you know anything about this?
My aunt calls me.
Pornhub.com/bunt.
I think your uncle's trying to text you bunt pornography, but he's typing it into an iPhone note. Sorry, aunt.
Come on, Uncle. Well, first of all, I will have to agree with Roberto here. You got to take 3 against the A's.
I think you do.
Yeah, sweeps are hard. It doesn't matter who you're playing. The matchups in baseball are what make baseball interesting. Again, make it a lot like life. Every day you're faced up with something different. You don't know what the variables are. Hard to win 4 straight games against any team. And after all, these are professionals. I understand that there are tiers of the professional game, but the way that it works, look at the Astros right now. That team can't even win a series. That team is, in theory, talented than most of the teams they've been playing.
That team is 7-18.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros are 7-18.
Hilarious. I'm enjoying every second of it. I want to enjoy it before, they inevitably rebound because we know that's going to happen. But yes, I support taking 3 out of 4. If you're a serious contender, I think that's the message you have to send to everybody else. Anyway, my moment that I was happiest with was that first inning against Blackburn. Everybody in the middle of the order got in the action. Feel like we haven't seen that yet this year with kind of just the way that the Yankees we constantly reference, 2018, 2019, where it was relentless. There was no free out. Everybody was getting hits. The bottom of the order was clanging things around like this. To see Soto, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, everybody just bang, 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 get us runs right on the board against a good pitcher. Paul Blackburn's a good pitcher. That's another element of this. Like the A's have some good pitching. They know how to scout in that department. To do it against him, I understand the offense went completely silent for the next 8 innings. That's a critique I'll have for later in the show. But guess what? It was enough. Everyone came to play in the first inning. They got after the most important pitcher on the roster for that day. They got the job done. You win 4-3. You don't want it to be that close, but again, win.
As the Beatles once said, Blackburn slinging in the dead of night. Take these broken bats, go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I just made that up on top of my head. I didn't have a Paul Blackburd parody locked for today. I just did that right now for you. Moment I was angriest, honestly, when I just came up with that Paul Blackburn song. That was probably the moment I was angriest in this series. But I mean, I already talked about it was Clark Schmidt hitting Noda on the foot. It was not the third time through the order disintegration so much. It was not, not even the home run by Rooker. It was the hit by pitch on the foot. And I saw, Ryan Garcia on Twitter, content creator, was angrier at the 2-strike sinker he threw to Nevin that ended up getting hit for the double and putting him in the jam. It's the hit by pitch for me. You have to, I sound like a Love is Blind contestant. It was actually the hit by pitch for me. Oh my God, it's the Clark Schmidt vibes for me. You cannot, when you are facing down a challenge like that, and Clark Schmidt looked as good as he's maybe ever looked in the first 5 innings of this game. Like no hit level stuff. The run on that fastball was next level to a different degree. And the 1-2 pitch to the first batter of your prove it inning when you really need to give me one more and maybe a little bit more into the 7th too. He not only spikes the breaking ball, but he spikes it into the dirt, and the impact on the bounce strikes Noda. And that for me was the moment where sometimes you just know it's going downhill and you don't know how far it's going downhill. That was the moment where I was like, this is not going to work out well. And it didn't. He got us one more out. And that was an impressive one too. Bleday has killed them You win the day with a moving fastball, and I'm like, all right, great. Now we're locked and loaded. Maybe Rooker hits a sac fly because, again, Schmidt's nasty on righties. We get out of this at 5-1. We go add on the next inning. But that is obviously not what happened. We had to bring Weaver in to bail him out. I don't get to watch Survivor. I instead have to watch the remaining 3 innings of this baseball game. On the one night when we blessedly don't have Knicks and Rangers going up against this, and I can just focus on the New York Yankees, they let me relax for 3.5 minutes, and then they pulled me right back in. So it's that Schmidt hit by pitch because I knew exactly what was coming, and I was not wrong.
Yeah, that was frustrating. Mine wasn't exactly a moment. It was just the encapsulation of Monday. Like, waste a Carlos Rodon start. Can this guy get any good press? I mean, he wasn't the greatest. He had the troubles early on, but he got through 7 scoreless. 1 hit, 2 walks. I mean, he was pretty damn good. The first inning was frustrating, though, when he hit the first batter in the foot. But damn, like, he finally gets on track with a really good outing. Again, it doesn't matter who it is. This guy got shelled on the last start of his season last year against the Royals, who were terrible. Gave up, had 8 or 9 runs in 2/3 of an inning, 1/3 of an inning.
I believe he recorded no outs.
It was no outs? Wow.
I think it was 0+ of an inning. It was the worst start I've ever seen.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about 7 scoreless against the A's, 1 hit, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. You want to see more strikeouts, but guess what? He got the job done. Yankees have wasted that outing, and I'm not saying it's affected him. It would piss me off if I was a starter, working my way back, trying to get my shit together, and then, I give a really good outing, and the offense is nowhere to be found against the guy. JP Sears has been solid. Like, that's a solid trade acquisition for the A's. He's a regular starter, made 32 starts last year. He's been pretty good this year. They beat him down badly last year. I think he pitched 2 starts against the Yankees, 9 1/3, gave up 10 earned runs. So, like, this was no mystery to the Yankees. The Yankees had him before. They know the whole scouting report. They saw him twice last year. They show up and do that. They waste Carlos Rodon's scoreless 7-inning outing. They waste Nestor Cortez's 7-inning scoreless outing on Saturday. That's what needs to stop, because every week we're complaining about the starters not giving length. Then we're back to complaining about the starters giving length, but the offense decided to shit the bed. And then you find yourself, on stilts for these next couple of games where they should be a little bit more painless. Anyway, can we get Carlos Rodon 1 good outing with the proper support instead of, like, really good outing, no support, battled in an outing, didn't give enough length, story of the game was a late inning comeback, or, just something for the guy, please, anything.
Yeah. Well, what's actually been crazy to me thus far is I wish I had the graphic in front of me, but either way, the Yankees starters are pretty much across the board performing extremely well. I believe Nestor has the highest ERA, Nestor had the highest ERA at 3.41 entering yesterday's game. I think Clark Schmidt is now 3.55, if I'm not mistaken. But time to find out. I'm just doing a quick old Google. If you see my fingers typing, it's because I want Clark Schmidt's ERA at my disposal. Yep, 3.55. Why didn't I know that? Crazy. But Nestor had thrown the most innings of any of them so far, and that includes...
That's sick.
Rodon and Nestor both the same number of turns through the rotation. I was surprised that had been the case, especially considering Nestor's first couple of starts were get bombed in the first inning, survive through the next few, and he managed to make it at least 5 in those D-backs and Astros starts. And it's good that he's been the one providing length, because he's been the one where I've been like, I'm not sure if he's a middle reliever or not. Now it seems pretty obvious. If we get Garrett Cole back, who's been very happy in the dugout the past couple of weeks.
Happy guy. Nice.
Happy guy. If we do get Garrett Cole back, I think Luis Heel is sort of the obvious name to go down to the bullpen. Yeah. If only he had more control and command. Maybe it's Clark. Maybe Clark just airs it out for 2 innings. But Clark, the setup man, has not been as appealing to me as Clark, the starter, to be honest. So it's tough, and you don't want Heel coming in. You're going to need to bring him in with a clean inning if you ever bring him in out of the bullpen, because he cannot come in with first and second. That's a problem. First and second, 1 out. You can't do that. Yeah. Look, that's a problem. That's a June podcast. We don't know if we're getting Garrett Cole back anymore. Not even worth speculating at this point. But the rotation is, by and large, like the comment said earlier, been not just good, could provide more length for sure. But
your best ERA in the sport?
Really good. Not the Red Sox. We don't have the miracle worker Andrew Bailey, but really genuinely good. But the bullpen has not. And so that's why my most surprising moment Clay Holmes just going a clean 1-2-3 on Tuesday, up 4-3. No Clay Holmes slander in this house at this point in time. He is a great closer. He is a great closer who sometimes makes things harder than you'd like him to. He's a great closer who looks better when he gets more rest and more time off his feet. That game just felt like it was trending towards the abyss for a long time. 4 runs in the first, nothing after that. 4-1 to 4-2 to 4-3 on these solo homers off Stroman. You feel you're going to have to fight to survive. You somehow get to the 9th. Caleb Ferguson in a 1-run game did the job for you. So you get to the 9th with Holmes. He's going to blow a save at some point again. And you're like, this feels like one of those. We've had to navigate this perilous game for 2 hours, and all these pieces that usually don't fit actually fit and did their job and did the work. And you're like, man, this would be such an appropriate game for Holmes to come in and blow. And then he, in the blink of an eye, again, during the most nerve-wracking part of the Rangers game, so unless you were screening, it was really hard to concentrate at this point in time. The Rangers are trying to kill off a 1-goal lead with like 3 minutes left. Holmes in just a blink. 1, 2, 3, easy. I was surprised at how simple that was.
Yeah, a little help from the ump. We'll take it. But the umps have sucked for everybody this entire series, giving us it's sad because society has done a full 180 over the last few years where it's like, oh man, AI robots going to take our jobs, and they're like, robots take the ump jobs, please get rid of those ump jobs.
Robots should take one job. Robots should take exactly one job.
A singular job. Here's my question though: as a society, should we support keeping the human umps? You know, they get benefits still, but the robots do the job. Because then who's making the money? The what?
Should the umps be friends with benefits? Is that what you're asking?
No. Should they have health benefits still?
Oh, sure, of course. Then they should live in a central console in New York, and they should be able to check, check the robots. They should live in the real world house. Obviously the robot can't exist without human intervention. So like we can't just have the robot spitting out incorrect assessments. But I don't know what's with the home plate microphone in this series, because we heard Hunter Wendelstedt in the day game, and I was like, that's the loudest I've ever heard an umpire before.
Truly loud and clear.
When then John Tumpain in the Tuesday game, going to the A's dugout, said the same thing. Hey, I'm not doing balls and strikes. I'm not doing balls and strikes today with you. I'm not doing them. I was like, man, when have I ever heard an umpire screaming at full volume, like in surround sound, like sponsored by Dolby? What are we doing here? I heard every word he said.
Weird stuff. A lot of tension out there, but I think because there's so many human elements in this game, so many players involved, so many personalities involved, we need to remove one layer. Robot umps, keep the health benefits for the human umps. Take care. My most surprising moment, insurance runs yesterday. Clark gives up that home run. And like you said, you're sitting there and you're like, well, that's it. This is going to be, we're going to be flying on the edge of our seat for the next few innings. And we didn't want this. And we thought this was going to be an easy coast to coast one. In the very next inning, I believe it was. Yes. Very next inning, Soto homers. That was your most exciting moment. I agree that was good.
Yep.
Hang on. I got it. Soto homers, gives them a 6-3 lead. And then they load the bases in the 7th and Verdugo rips a sac fly. You might want more there, but again, can't get greedy. Rip the sac fly, put the Yankees up by 4. In theory, that's enough. That's enough to beat most teams with 6 outs to go. So more times than not, the Yankees are not offering those insurance runs, especially in succession. They might get one in one inning and that's it, but the bats came for the next couple innings and they put traffic on the bases. And that was nice to see, especially after the A's bullpen the last couple days kind of had their way with them.
Yeah, I did want more when Verdugo hit the sac fly. Obviously,
I thought it was a gapper for a second, and I was like, "Yeah."
Well, it was also the worst place sac fly too. You got bases loaded, nobody out, and you line one ahead of the play so that nobody else can tag up, and you're like, "All right, this inning's probably over."
Stanton's on third too. I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Why did he even? I was surprised he even did tag.
I know,
especially after Luis Rojas sent him in the throwback special on the Austin Wells line drive single to right, like. I don't even want to send Antoine Richardson on that. You're sending Giancarlo Stanton on that from second? Are you kidding me? Like, what Quentin Berry, I'm even being like, I don't know if the fastest guy alive can score from second here, and they try to score Stanton. But hey, it didn't ultimately matter. So many things felt like they'd matter and they wouldn't. Thing you might have missed, I'm gonna drop a sad one here, unfortunately. Again, lost in the shuffle of the win yesterday, but Anthony Rizzo's reaction time on the JJ Bleday liner in the first, yes, it was 108 miles an hour, but yes, per Chris Kirshner, it was a 90% catch probability, and it just led to an uncomfortable couple of minutes on the broadcast where everybody was like, wow, did it seem like Rizzo's reaction time was slow there? Yeah, it was odd. It was almost like he didn't know when to stick the glove up. Did he have a shot at that? They do the replay. He clearly does. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just put the glove up a little bit slow. And nobody wants to mention the elephant in the room that, oh, yeah, there's clearly something affecting his reaction time. It's affected him in the field this year even more than at the plate. He mentioned last year that he was having trouble recognizing pitches and was a second or two late on things he'd never been late on before. It feels weird that nobody wants to stand up and either ask the question to Aaron Boone or at least on the broadcast say, man, that is worrisome. And imagine if that line drive was located in a different spot. Would he have been able to react if it was at his body or at his head instead of over his head? So I just want to be the one on the podcast to call that out and say it made me uncomfortable. It was weird to hear people discuss it and not mention the obvious factor behind that likely delay, and that he got lucky that it was over his head. Not only he got lucky that they didn't score, but he got lucky that it was over his head. And I guess that can delay the discourse for a while, but I just want to see him be healthy and well. And I was encouraged by the second home run, the one he hit yesterday. Yeah. It went harder and further than the one he hit the other day. I wish only for the best for Anthony Rizzo, but I didn't trust the medical staff with him last year, and I don't trust them with him this year either.
Don't trust the Yankees medical staff at all. We'll get to DJ LeMahieu in a moment to add more doubt there. Something you might have missed. We have a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing for me, hitting with runners in scoring position, not a whole lot of opportunity, but 6 for 13. I'll take that. It's about 500 batting average. You don't see the Yankees do that very often. So it's clear they rose to the occasion for a moment in these last two games. They went 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position in the first game. That's the only action they had. And then they kind of raked over the last two nights. A little bit of an under-the-radar concerning one. 7 walks in 3 games here. This lineup is built on walks. 7, that's 2 per game. 7 walks against. I know that we've seen this pitching. This A's pitching is really solid. Not good, though. It's not great, and it's definitely not imposing enough to limit the Yankees to 7 walks. The Yankees had, I think it was 6 hits across the first 2 games, 8 hits across the first 2 games. Then yesterday they erupted for 11. So I don't like the 7 walks though, because if there's one thing the Yankees do, it's they'll walk. They'll pass the baton off, Sal Licata style. He loves to say that.
What are we doing?
They do love to do that. They love walking. They love taking their time with pitches. I heard on the broadcast yesterday, I don't know if you were listening intently, the Yankees swing at the least amount of pitches in all of Major League Baseball. Do I like that? I don't know. I'm okay with it because obviously it's translating into a high on base percentage. But again, got to hit with the runners in scoring position, got to hit in general, and need to deliver in big moments, whether there's runners in scoring position or not. And there's still improvement to be made on that front.
Yeah, not for nothing, but of all of those walks, 4 of them were in the 3 innings against Boyle yesterday. So that means 3 walks against someone who is not one of the wildest pitchers in Major League Baseball over a 3-game span. Look, when the offense is feeble, it's as feeble as it gets. The first game of this series was one of the most pathetic offensive performances, I would say, if not for the second game of the Rays series, which was maybe even worse. 2 of the worst offensive performances I've seen from a Yankees franchise in years were both this week. So I'm definitely not doing a victory lap on the Yankees offense, but 6 of 13 with runners in scoring position is nice. And again, 17-8, and the competition has mostly been a really high level of competition. Yeah. So am I excited to face the Brewers in Milwaukee this weekend? No. Orioles in Baltimore next weekend? No, that's a different class of team. But it's not like they face schlubs and also Rans so far this year. The Astros are extremely confounding. I don't know what to make of them, but I do know that their lineup is the same lineup that has tortured us for eons. So they're not a last place team. They might not be an ALCS or World Series team. That'd be great. But they've definitely gotten worse since they faced us. Like, Javier has not pitched. Framber Valdez has not pitched. Now it's Spencer Arrighetti. Like, there are people that we didn't see that have 11 ERAs that are leading to the Astros being quite this dreadful. But I would say I felt more nervous, I don't want to go face the Brewers or Orioles. No, I definitely don't, but I didn't want to face the Rays or at the Jays or Jays at home or Astros or at Diamondbacks. See, there are a lot of teams I didn't want to face, and the Yankees have acquitted themselves pretty well so far through all those teams. It'd be nice if they got a little bit of mojo back heading into this weekend, because it does get tougher from here, and it's also not easy to beat the A's. And that leads us into DJ LeMahieu, who we might as well talk about, who, look, this is a complicated one because we didn't even know when we thought we were getting DJ LeMahieu back what we were getting. 2019 and 20 DJ LeMahieu, one of the most helpful, top-of-the-lineup table setters in baseball with a surprising amount of power. 21, when he was healthy, good. When he wasn't, quite bad. 2022 and 2023, there was some bounce back going on in 2023, but not nearly enough for most of us, and especially not those of us who watched him in 19 and 20. As the contact skill evaporate, look, as he ages, the ground balls become less powerful. They don't find as many holes. If the ball isn't super juiced like it was in 2019 and 20, and the power goes down from 20 homers to 7, he's not as effective a baseball player. So he's coming back from this injury. Doctors say, hey, don't come back from this injury. And then 5 days later, they say, you can start a rehab assignment now. Yeah. At that point, I'm already again, I'm not even sure if I want to rush him back, but without a backup first baseman, he would help the roster. I would rather have DJ LeMahieu than Jahmai Jones on the roster. I would rather have DJ LeMahieu than Taylor Trammell on the roster, but that's sort of how I view him right now. Depth I'd be interested in, but do I want him cutting off Oswaldo Cabrera's heater? Not really. When John Birdie comes back, do I want John Birdie starting over DJ? Sometimes, and LeMahieu's problem continues to be kicked down the line because he leaves that rehab start an inning and a half into the game with more foot pain. Who could have seen this coming other than everyone? The initial diagnosis is not an additional fracture, but it's residual edema. Now he's week to week, but why should I expect to see him this year? Is that unreasonable? I don't expect to see him this year.
Oh, we got an update?
Yeah, late last night, they said residual edema, shut down for a week. We'll take it week to week, but again, shut down for a week is not he'll be back next week. The Oswaldo Cabrera shut down for 6 weeks. Oh, so he'll be on the Yankees roster in 6 weeks? It's April 25th.
Oswald Peraza, yeah.
Haven't heard a word, Oswald Peraza. Yeah, I have not heard a word on Oswald Peraza.
Yeah. I didn't see that update. Wow, I'm bad at my job.
Yeah.
This is concerning. Talking Yanks, I was listening to their Aaron Boone interview yesterday. They were wondering if the team was rushing DJ back. Boone had mentioned on multiple occasions that DJ's been itching to get back on the field. So I don't know what the deal's been, but you can at least wonder if maybe DJ was putting pressure on the team to get him back on the field in some capacity, because the medical updates have been weird. Not only have they been weird, but again, they've been lacking information, lacking definitive, whatever you want to call it. Not enough of a revelation for us to draw a conclusion anywhere. But yeah, now I'm wondering if we're going to see him again this season at all, which was a concern the second this had happened. DJ LeMahieu has not been healthy since 2020. That is 2021, 2022, 2023. This is the 4th year he's not healthy. So he's becoming a non-factor for me. The biggest concern here is that, in theory, if there was the opportunity to rest him longer, right? The Yankees had it. Oswaldo Cabrera is doing a great job. There is no need to rush anybody back at this point from injury.
Yeah.
Starting rotation, pitching well. The bullpen, I understand it's kind of a Jenga tower. Getting the job done, though. Like, we've been living to see another day. Again, second best record in baseball after the win last night. So the Yankees have the flexibility. I understand that, and I will be lenient with this time around because the Yankees actually built a bench this year. In years past, I'd be pissed. I'd be saying, you know what? This is what you get because you built a bench out of absolutely nothing, or you just put a bunch of fringe roster players on there and you figured, hey, we're going to figure it out. No, this time they actually got guys. They got Trent Grisham. They got John Birdie. They had DJ, backup catcher. They had the option of Oswald Peraza and Oswaldo Cabrera. They gave themselves enough of a runway. So at this point, I'm not going to be mad if there's no depth, because they had depth and now they've been felled by injuries, and this is what happens every year. But at the very least, they had the leeway to keep DJ out for another 1, 2, 3 weeks if they really needed to. Oswaldo Cabrera is not slowing down. He's playing great defense. You have to assume John Birdie was going to be back before DJ was going to be anyway. So they have enough bodies right now to fill what they need for the infield. Very concerning, because now it seems like the foot injury is probably just becoming more of an issue, as it had since day first. It was a contusion, then it was a non-displaced fracture, and now it's whatever you just said it was. I still don't even know what that is.
Residual edema, obviously. Everyone knows that. Yeah.
It's the what was Ben Rortvet's he had a blood vessel fracture stroke thing.
The aneurysm.
Aneurysm, yeah. Shoulder aneurysm, just injuries you've never heard of. Welcome to New York. But yeah, I mean, I just hope it wasn't any sort of malpractice or oversight, because again, DJ LeMahieu has had a lot of ailments over the past few years that have kept him off the field. To be hasty in his return when the Yankees don't need him right now. Yes, I would like him over Jahmai Jones. I would love him over insert name right now. But if he's not healthy, he's useless. And if he's useless, then he's just going to become yet another one of our complaints every week, when we have him rolling over balls, grounding into double plays, not catching up to fastballs, not being able to, to get that extra step on the infield to make the play on a grounder. So I don't know what happened here. If he's week to week now, don't expect to see him until June. Sorry, that's just how this goes. But yeah, deeply concerning. But on the flip side, and this is not being negative or mean, I didn't factor him into the plans this year.
No.
I didn't. I did not. So the second he went down with that injury, even before that, you saw what's happened over the last few years. He has not been outside of, I think, maybe a 6-week stretch last year when Sean Casey was randomly the hitting coach for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
DJ LeMahieu offered nothing and offensively. And it was a problem with the hernia in 2021, foot injury in 2022, whatever happened, leading into 2023. I wasn't bullish on him at all. I was viewing him as nothing more than a depth piece of somebody who can fill in at second, third, or first if we needed him. So sadly, this news doesn't affect me as a fan. It affects me personally because I want DJ LeMahieu to be better. But in terms of the roster, to me, it doesn't matter.
I would agree with you there. What's coming down the pike to replace him? Look, Brian Cashman did an interview with The Athletic yesterday, said he feels like he's undermanned without John Birdie and without a true backup first baseman, but that they do not want to go to non-40-man options like our boy Caleb Durbin, like TJ Rumfield, because they know that they're going to need those 40-man spots when guys come back from the 60-day IL, which will be happening. Hopefully it's Garrett Cole. Lou Trevino is apparently a little bit ahead of Scott Efros, but both of those guys are working their way back. They're going to have to add players and lose players at a certain point. He doesn't want to maximize the number of people they lose off the 40-man. Fine. And they don't seem inclined to step in front of the Red Sox and get Garrett Cooper or CJ Cron. The Red Sox need a starting first baseman right now. So the Yankees could be jerks here and step in and grab somebody the Red Sox want to play instead of Tristan Casas. Be cool. I would, quite frankly, want Garrett Cooper to be my backup first baseman. But also, I'm watching the amount of reps these backups are getting at this point. Trent Grisham has 12 at-bats this year. That's
crazy. That's honestly crazy.
It's nuts.
We're going to need him at some point. To do this to him this early on is going to fuck him up for the whole season.
Already looks pretty fucked up. Jahmai Jones has 3 AB. We've got hitless guys on the bench. I thought they built a bench with intentionality too, but they don't see fit to use Trent Grisham, and he looks unusable. So very confusing so far. But I don't think that they're going to. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to add anybody. So I think we're just going to sit here and stew with this weird bench for a little while longer. John Birdie apparently going to come back for a rehab assignment himself relatively soon. He got that groin issue, not like that adductor issue that failed Blake Snell, by the way. Where was everybody who wanted Blake Snell and who said that the Yankees should pay $70+ million this year for Blake Snell.
I'm here.
Yeah. Do you want to answer for your crimes? The man with the 11.97 ERA and groin injury in month 1 of the season?
I will. It's the San Fran effect.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's good in San Francisco anymore. I don't know what the deal is. There is also the problem with spring training. Blake Snell did not get a proper buildup. I don't really care what anybody says. Even if he's working with somebody on the side, you don't have the regularity of it. You don't have the trainers checking you out every day to make sure something, hey, a little flare up here. Let's get a day rest, which makes all the difference. So I think if things were to have bounced differently for Blake Snell, perhaps if he was in pinstripes early on during spring training, we'd be having a different conversation right now. That said, I will hat tip Brian Cashman. Rotation's doing great. The faith in the guys the faith that you put in the guys who are succeeding right now has been very noticeable, and the rotation's off to the best start possible. I think the guys that need to be tested are getting tested in the early going. It's going to help for the gumption later on in the year. So I'm good with where we're at. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and for the questions, Monty has been great. 3 earned runs in 13 innings, 2 starts, but still just 2 starts. And, everybody the Yankees have gone to so far has been pretty confident in the rotation. So yeah. I think there's a difference between signing Blake Snell when the Yankees offered him a 6-year deal and signing him at the end of March when they had already committed to Stroman and everybody was saying, he wants $35 million for 1 year. Just do it. And the Yankees were like, no, I don't want to do that. And now he's not active. So that's that. It's not close the book on Snell for the whole year, but right now, not so great. Who has been great? Spencer Jones. Just a brief aside to tell everybody. I was more excited about doing this segment before he went 0 for 5 with 2 Ks yesterday because he was hitting 423 at that point in time. But now still 355, 2 homers already in 30 ABs, 11 for 31. 993 OPS at AA. I don't think we're going to see him in the bigs this year, and I hope we don't, because last year we only saw Jason Dominguez because the team was terrible, and they were like, whatever, it's September, give him a shot. I would hope that the team is not quite so bad this year as they were in 2023, but let's get Spencer Jones up to AAA pretty soon. Maybe he loves his AA hitting coach. I don't know, but I think I would like to see him challenge at AAA enough that I would feel comfortable with him being on the big league roster at some point next year. So if we could just make that happen, that would be ideal. And Roberto, to answer your question, I wouldn't trade any of these people. I maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but
who does he want to trade? Roberto spewing stuff again?
Well, he's Domingos or Jones, who's going to get traded.
No,
I don't think
nobody.
You don't thin out your future lineup and your future capital just to make room for people who are currently in the here. And Aaron Judge could be a DH tomorrow. Aaron Judge could be a first baseman next year.
Don't you forget about it.
Juan Soto could be a DH. Like I keep Soto, I keep Jones, I keep Dominguez, I keep Judge. I rotate them all. Giancarlo Stanton's going to get phased out sooner rather than later. Yeah. That's how I do it. Yeah. And guess what? Jones is probably not going to open next year in the bigs either. But I do think we have room for all of these people. You never trade elite bats unless there is absolutely an unimpeachable swap that comes through where someone says, I'm going to give you a god tier second baseman of the future and an ace for Spencer Jones. Then sure, twist my arm. But right now I'm not limiting that. And what about Stan? I mean, he's getting towards the end of his career in pinstripes. He just is. They're not going to, send him away. I would say Aaron Judge is a first baseman, Fernando, not Spencer Jones.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trading. The Yankees have traded enough people over the last few years where it's like, all right, how many more people do you want to trade? And after the negotiations this offseason, I don't know why you would be excited to even think about trading anybody. No one's going to give us what we want for what we have to offer. And if we do end up giving up our higher end talent, we're going to get squeezed by somebody. It's just the way it is. You know what happened? The White Sox wanted Spencer Jones for Dylan Cease, some package of that. Mm-hmm. The Brewers wanted Spencer Jones and some package of that for Corbin Burns. They both turned around and they made inferior deals with 2 other teams. The Brewers traded to the Orioles and how are those guys doing actually?
DL Hall is on the IL. I know that, but I'm not sure how Joey Ortiz is doing.
And I know the White Sox got like a fairly promising package from the Padres, but there was nobody in that deal, in my opinion, that hurt the Padres when they were like, oh man, we're going to be tough to part with this guy for Dylan Cease. No, the Yankees would have been sweating getting rid of these prospects with higher pedigree for guys who are could be leaving after this season. Corbin Burns is a free agent after this year, or someone who's kind of had a rickety major league career. Dylan Cease has shown flashes of being an ace caliber starter and then not really being effective at all. So it's the risk reward. And then you see what Spencer Jones did in spring training. You saw what Jason Dominguez did last year in spring training. And then for the 8 days he was up with the Yankees, to me, I don't think either of those guys are worth getting rid of. And like you said, Aaron Judge could be a DH in 2 years. You just don't know what's going to happen. Alex Verdugo, probably not with this team after next year.
No.
Giancarlo Stanton, in my opinion, has one more year after this year before the conversation actually accelerates and is like, you know what? I think we can afford to get rid of him now. So you're talking about 2-3 roster spots getting cleared up and flexibility being moved around. Who else is a free agent after this year? Gleyber Torres is a free agent. I know it doesn't fix an outfield spot, but would you rather have a really good hitter on the bench if you're rotating 4 outfielders like that? I would. And those guys are lefties. The Yankees have had a problem. I mean, Dominguez is a switch hitter, but if he can hit from the left side of the plate, where the Yankees have been unable to balance a lineup with lefties over the last 3 years, I'm keeping these guys.
It's just, who am I trading him for? Like Spencer Strider from the Braves? Like if there's like an iconic player available, and I'm like, all right, I mean, yes, if you give me the chance to upgrade the roster now and in the future in the same way that I think Jones's talent would, then sure. But right now I'm not seeing anybody. Like, I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Jesus Luzardo. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Paul Blackburn. I didn't want to trade Spencer Jones for 1 year of Corbin Burns. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for 1 year of anybody. So I don't think it's a good idea to cut bait on somebody just because you have too much talent. So you got to get rid of some talent at a lesser cost. A day will come where you don't have too much talent anymore. And you'll go, what happened to that talent I had? Oh, I just traded it because I had too many names. I don't want to do I want to keep everybody. I saw people saying like, oh, you could pick Jones and Dominguez over Soto. Then you wouldn't have to spend on Soto. That's ridiculous. Don't pick unproven talent over Juan Soto. But then conversely, if you sign Juan Soto, I don't think that means, okay, now I have to trade Jones, who could be a top 10 prospect in all of baseball by midseason, just because I also committed to another future Hall of Famer. I can find room for everybody.
Yeah.
The one difference is if I have 8 shortstop prospects, I don't need to keep all of those.
No.
I can trade some of those shortstop prospects. You got to pick the right ones. But if I've got 4 outfielders for 4 spots, including DH, I don't think that's an overload of talent. I think that just means Giancarlo Stanton's on his way out.
Yeah, and don't forget the Yankees have we all get frustrated with Cashman's trades, right? Very frustrating. And sometimes he hits, sometimes it's a dud, but the return might be a dud, but what he's given up doesn't really pan out to be anything. So he's done a masterful job in actually just cutting, whoever off the top and then creating a pathway for the talent that the organization actually believes in. So now these guys have risen to the point where they're becoming potentially viable major league players, maybe all-stars, who knows? The jury's out, but the early returns have been nice. A lot of top prospects don't perform and make this loud of a burst onto the scene. So now to trade them would be a little bit pointless. Because then everyone complains, oh, the Yankees never have any prospects. This sucks. Like, what are we just going to have to buy everybody? Now the Yankees are in a bit of a perilous payroll situation, right? Mm-hmm. You have Garrett Cole. You're going to have to get Garrett Cole to tack on another $36 million onto his contract and another year after this season. Aaron Judge is signed for 7 more years. Juan Soto is getting at least a 10-year deal. You're stuck with DJ LeMahieu for another 3 years. Sorry, man. Giancarlo Stanton, same thing. Carlos Rodon, $27 million for the next 5 years. List goes on and on. So you need to balance the high payroll with the promising young talent. Unless the Yankees are trading young talent for more controllable young talent, moving these guys makes no sense. They already traded Trey Sweeney. They got rid of the depth at shortstop, the crazy depth at shortstop that they had. They traded all these pitchers that they didn't think they needed, and they paved the way, in theory, for Chase Hampton and Will Warren. I know that's not looking great right now, but that's the reality. So now the Yankees kind of have to just live with what they have. If the trade deadline gives us an opportunity to acquire somebody who would definitely make them like a far and away World Series contender, sure, we'll talk about it. But right now, I don't know if that person's available. Right now, I don't think the Yankees are going to want to sacrifice their future for not the perfect trade acquisition. So this is what life is. At this moment, the top end of their farm system looks good. The younger guys that are at the bottom that are slowly rising the ranks, the reports and the scouting reports there are looking solid. So let's hope the infrastructure just upholds. That's what we got to deal with right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's nobody, even the pie in the sky trade options are outfielders. Mike Trout. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Mike Trout. I would trade Spencer Jones for Paul Skeens. Yes. In a fake world where that was presented to me, I would say yes to that, but that's not something I would trade Spencer Jones for anyone on the top 10 prospects list who's a better fit for this roster. But that's not a kind of trade that gets offered. So you're going to hear like, we can't do Paul Skeens, but we can do Jones for Mitch Keller. No, I would not do that. Mitch Keller and David Bednar. No, I'm not trading him for volatile pitchers. Sorry, just not doing it. And a hearty farewell. We haven't done a hate update in a long time, and I think we should. We don't need to add the theme music, but I do think it's worth zeroing in on the Houston Astros. Every time I think about the Houston Astros, and I talked about this on the Baseball Insiders, I was like, look, you can't count them out. They're in the ALCS every year and the World Series almost every year. I can't count them out, but I'm firmly in can't count them out territory versus I expect them to make an immediate return to prominence, because 7-18, every time I check the scoreboard, they're losing again. It's really ridiculous. And they're playing tough teams and they go to Wrigley, but the Cubs are not unbeatable. They're losing every game. And the lineup is the same guys: Altuve, Tucker, Bregman, Alvarez. They're all there. And Jeff Bagwell of the Houston Astros, who's a part of this front office for whatever reason, appears to be part of the core of former players who were trying to get the Astros analytical GM and analytical core to take steps back away from analytics and just get grinders and gamers. And whatever they're doing, not working, because Jose Abreu is the worst regular in baseball. Last I checked, he subtracted 1.4 WAR. Subtracted 1.4 WAR. It's April. It's April 25th. And they signed Rafael Montero to a 3-year deal. And whatever they're doing has led them to be where they're at. And Jeff Bagwell, on the broadcast the other day, when asked about this season, just decided to take a shot at the Yankees. Like, I don't care that they just beat us because they haven't beaten us a couple years ago. So that's important. And hey, dude, I've never heard coping from a baseball Hall of Famer before, but apparently we've reached that stage where now even the people in the Astros front office who are scrambling are resorting to being like, you couldn't beat us in the 2022 playoffs, so I don't really care. Okay, well, it's 2024 now.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, you have him and Reggie Jackson in there just hooting and hollering their way, trying to, kind of bully their way, because the commentary is just, it's braggadocious.
Yes.
You have Bagwell on the Sunday night broadcast. It was not this past week, the week before against the Rangers, unprompted, just saying, don't care what the Yankees are doing. Don't care what they just did to us. We beat them in the playoffs every year since 2015. And it's like, Jeff, we're not talking about that. We're talking about you sucking right now. What do you have to say about that? I understand, in the grander conversation, the Astros have been a dynasty. There is no denying that. The Astros,
absolutely.
I hate the Astros. I don't respect the Astros. I
don't either. No, I don't.
But they've been good. So, and they've kicked my ass. They've personally kicked my ass up and down the street.
Yes, they have.
It is what it is. But this will be the true test of if this organization is able to turn it around, if they can actually face with the problems that they're dealing with. We talked about it a lot. We were very thankful that they let James Click go. James Click seamlessly transitioned there. I know he didn't overhaul the roster or do anything, but he made the moves and navigated a year that the Astros won the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. And then Jim Crane offers him a 1-year extension. James Click tells him to go fuck himself. Jim Crane says, great, you can actually go fuck yourself. You will not be here anymore. Then Jim Crane goes ahead and he signs Rafael Montero to a ridiculous contract. He goes ahead and he signs Jose Abreu to a ridiculous contract. And now you have Jeff Bagwell and Reggie Jackson walking around with their chests out talking about how analytics is for losers and that they're not getting in negotiating wars for talented players. It's like, all right, man, whatever you want to do, I guess keep doing it. We'll see what happens. But you're fucking up a good thing that you had. Astros were 7 years running atop the American League. It's April. It's not over yet. But guess what? You could certainly lose the division in April. As the wise men once said, as we just mentioned, you can't win it. But guess what? Digging out of this hole. And right now they are winning. They are winning 1-0 against the Cubs.
Wow.
But Justin Verlander put up a 37-pitch first inning. And, of course, the Cubs let him get through the second inning with 7 pitches.
Oh, great.
Okay, very good, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but it's not looking good for Houston. Their starters are giving up a ton of runs in the first inning. They're not able to weather these injuries. So, welcome to Yankees life, dude. Welcome to having to perform completely unexpectedly without any of the players that you were picturing having in your lineup in the first couple weeks, and this is what happens: 7-18, and bad.
Yeah, it's not so easy, is it, Jeff? So keep resorting to old trolling. We'll just sit here in 2024 and watch the season unfold. That is it for this edition of the Yanks Go Yard podcast. We'll see you all right back here next week, next Monday, 2:00 Eastern. Like always, recapping the Brewers series, getting ready to face the Orioles. Joey Ortiz, by the way, who the Orioles traded for Corbin Burns, 12 for 47 on the year, hitting .255, no homers, .683 OPS. Wow. Gold.
What's his D-WAR, though? Because supposedly that's what the Brewers valued.
Sure, it's quite good. And I'm sure he'll absolutely hit his first homer of the year against us this weekend. That is a guarantee. That's a guarantee. Well, thank you for joining us. Of course, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weiner. I'm on Threads too. I don't want to be there, but every day I get a notification saying your friend followed you on Threads.
Yeah.
And you requested them.
I
did. I did. I don't think I requested anybody.
Never did.
Why am I not following them? But apparently I'm on Threads as well, even though I don't touch it. So probably find me on Twitter for now. Thomas Carinante, where can the people find you?
I don't know where we're going next, but right now I'm at Tommy's_takes. We are both at the official Yanks Go Yard Twitter account at Yanks Go Yard FS. YanksGoYard.com is the website. Yanks Go Yard is the code for DraftKings. It's very easy to remember. So hit us up if you want to talk about anything. Draft picks, don't give a fuck. I hate the NFL draft. It's my least favorite event of the entire year. Everybody's overhyped. All the prospects are overhyped, usually. The GMs all make terrible decisions. The analysts are all wrong. Anything that you've written, talked about, predicted is wrong, will be wrong. And then my team, the Giants, will make a shitty draft pick. So I just don't enjoy it. I hope everybody else does, though. I'm not giving you my predictions.
Oh, they're going to make a real shitty draft pick. And it seems like it's going to be JJ McCarthy, who, when asked by Rich Eisen yesterday, the Giants are usually good at smoke screens, too. Like, we thought they hated Kayvon Thibodeau, but they loved him. And then yesterday, Rich Eisen's like, hey, JJ, do you have any idea where you might be going? And he's like, yeah, obviously I've had a lot of meetings. The Giants, met with them a bunch of times. It's been a really easy install for me learning their system because it was familiar for me. I met Kafka, met Dable, met Mr. Shane, and he just went on like a minute-long rant. It was like, have you met with a single other fucking team? Like, or is it just the Giants? Because you seem to know everything about them. He was like, it's an easy install for me. So it was like, you're already installing their offense? I guess we're trading up for JJ McCarthy. Or we're picking him at 6. I don't know. So that's really what it seems like we're doing. Joey Ortiz, don't have the D-WAR in front of me, but UZR, -1.4. UZR at a 150, -28.3. DRS -2. RPM -1.
Hey, Brewers, kiss my ass.
So far, so not good there. But I have heard a lot of good things about the defense as well.
Yankees just made a roster move.
We sure did. We added Michael Tonkin, who's been on 35 teams so far this year.
McKinley Moore. Sayonara, my friend.
The McKinley Moore era never played in the major leagues this year, but apparently threw nearly 100 and was bad at AAA, though, because he had no control.
Okay.
Sounds like he belongs with the Oakland A's, in my humble opinion.
We'll leave you with that, everybody.
We will leave you with that. Thank you for joining us. The New York Yankees play one more game tonight. The New York Knicks play tonight. The draft is tonight. We'll talk about it all next Monday, 2 o'clock Eastern, right here. Probably mostly the Yankees, though. Not so much the other things. But you never know. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody.